It's a moment of great nostalgia for me. I was sitting there 9 years ago. 2014, I was a Yatri, and since then, my journey with Jagriti has been phenomenal. And today, I'm so proud and happy to see all of you here taking this big step forward. So congratulations to all of you. I want to ask you two questions, two very important questions. My first question is, how many hours out of the 24 hours in a day do you all spend inside a building? That's a super honest answer. Yes? 18? 20 to 22? 16? 18? So the global average is that all of us, our generation is an indoor generation, and we spend almost 90% of our lives inside a building. 90%. That is drastically different from what all our grandparents did. My second question is, we've spoken about sustainable farming, digital transport, sustainable enterprise, sustainable education. Of all the money that we will ever earn, where do you think you are going to invest your biggest chunk? Which means, your house, exactly, thank you. Which means that 90% of our lives we are spending inside buildings, which is either home or office or school or workplace, and a huge chunk of our earning, of our life's earning, we are going to put in a house. So now my question is, what would you like your home to be? So my journey as an architect, this is a question that I asked myself. What is it that a beautiful dream home that fulfills all your aspirations should be like? And the answer I want to share with you today in the form of three very simple stories. Three simple stories of how a home, and taking a cue from what Sonam said, that a home not only must be sustainable, but must heal. Heal you and heal the world around you, or heal the garden, or heal the city, or heal the neighborhood, heal the street that you're living in. So these are the three stories that I want to share with you today. That buildings must be that which promotes well-being of you as the end user, as the consumer of the building, as well as of the planet. That is what makes it sustainable. So the three stories that I'm going to share with you today are of three very, very interesting buildings, one of which y'all are going to see in Devariya, which is the Jagriti Enterprise Center Purvanchal, which I have been designing with my journey in Jagriti ever since I came for the Yatra. So I'll start with my first story, and all the stories revolve around India's greatest innovation, which is Shunya. Zero is one of India's greatest innovation, right? And I try that all the buildings that all of you will ever inhabit should be Shunya, should be big zeros. Zero in terms of energy, zero in terms of water, zero in terms of waste, and zero in terms of carbon. This is a very simple, quantifiable definition of sustainable buildings. And I'm going to share with you three beautiful stories on how it can be Shunya. So my first story is about net zero energy. So Sonam and I specialize in the same technology, which is earth technology. And he works in Ladakh, and I work in South India. So the climate is drastically different. For him, the earth has to keep the building warm. And for me, the same earth has to keep the building cool. And this is the beauty of earth. It is the most timeless material. which, as Sonam beautifully said, can live for 1,000 years and still be alive. So this is a building, this is a campus that I have built in Pondicherry, which is a cultural center, built completely out of unfired earth, kachi mitti. So again, kachi with a inverted comma. Kachi mitti ka pura 5 acre ka campus, which has won the award for being India's most sustainable campus by the United Nations. And this is where we started. 5 एकड़ की जगह थी जहाँ पे सबसे लो कॉन्टूर था. कॉन्टूर आप समझते हैं, ग्रेडियंट. सबसे लो ग्रेडियंट जहाँ पे था वहाँ की मिट्टी निकाली और उससे पूरा का पूरा कैंपस बना दिया. हाउ सिंपल इज दैट? देयर वाज नो ट्रांसपोर्ट, देयर वाज हार्डली एनी स्टील, हार्डली एनी सीमेंट, जस्ट skills and the people around. So I had the great opportunity to train more than 450 local villagers in traditional building skills. Somebody was saying recently that in the last 50 years, I think Shashi said a beautiful thing, in the last 50 years we've lost something that we had built since the beginning of time. So these are the skills that we have developed over the last 3,000 years and we can't afford to lose them. So what did we do? We made not an old building, we made a highly modern, high-spec building precise to 1 millimeter out of earth. And these are the innovations that we did in that. So out of this, out of this little hole in the ground, literally, where we started collecting our rainwater, we took the earth out and we built the entire campus out of it. We made the bricks out of it, we made the foundations out of it, all is just earth. There is hardly any cement and zero steel. Even the roof we made out of earth. And how did we make this building net zero energy? So energy in South India, especially in Pondicherry, where summer temperatures are 45 degrees Celsius, most of the energy bill is for air conditioning. I mean, can you imagine we would be sitting in this hall और अगर AC नहीं चल रहा होता तो क्या होता? तो हमारा ये आइडिया था कि AC के बिना कैसे इतने सारे लोग, 500,000 लोग AC के बिना comfortably कैसे बैठ सकते हैं? So that was the question with which I started. And there were 13 techniques which we implemented in order to make this building not just without AC, but in 45 degrees temperature without fans, and everybody's super comfortable. How can we use water? Water is a great cooler. How can we use water to cool our buildings? How can we use cavity walls? सिर्फ 2 ईंटों के बीच में जगह बनाने से उसका थर्मल रेजिस्टेंस या उसकी हीट ट्रांसफर करने की जो क्षमता है या रेजिस्टेंस पावर है वो 5 गुना हो जाता है. Such simple things, और उसमें पैसे ज़्यादा नहीं लगते हैं. You can build the building with the same amount of money, which will cost you 1/10 to keep it operational in terms of heating and cooling. And how can we use biodiversity? Trees का कैसे उपयोग कर सकते हैं? So over a period of all these years, I personally planted about 3,000 trees in that 5-acre campus, and we converted a desert, literally a desert. You can see in 2005 what it was like and what it's like now, into a man-made forest. And this building, as I said, has been featured by the UN. And this building is a net zero building. It is a shunya building because it needs very, very little electricity to run, and even that is met with solar. The second story I want to tell you about is my own office building in Pondicherry, which is the architecture office building. This is the office building. And this is a story of carbon. कार्बन डाइऑक्साइड की हम बहुत बातें करते हैं. क्लाइमेट चेंज हो, ग्लोबल वार्मिंग हो, हर जगह हम कार्बन डाइऑक्साइड के बारे में बात करते हैं. द लार्जेस्ट एमिटर ऑफ कार्बन डाइऑक्साइड इज आवर बिल्डिंग. तो हम इस मकान को शून्य कार्बन कैसे बना सकते हैं? सो दैट वाज एन एक्सपेरिमेंट दैट वी डिड हियर, एंड थ्रू अगेन मेनी डिफरेंट टेक्निक्स एंड सिलेक्टिंग द राइट मटीरियल. Shashank asked a beautiful question about circular economy to Sonam Wangchuk, and this is the answer for that. that instead of having a linear system where you put raw material and labor at one end and you have a finished product and waste at the other end, which is a linear system, it just goes in one way. If you have a circular system whereby the waste of one process becomes the wealth of the next process, then we have a circular system. So over here, from a nearby thermal power plant, we got all the waste, which was the fly ash, and we built all the walls with the fly ash brick. And we put a cavity in the middle by which we hardly need any air conditioners because the building remains 10 degrees cooler than the outside. So in effect, जो लाल ईंट होती है, which Shashank hates so much, 45 inches जिस ईंट को लगते 45 inches, almost 4 feet की दीवार बनानी पड़ती, 4 feet thick wall. Can you even imagine that? That much efficiency has been achieved in only a 9-inch wall. We have achieved 1/5 the amount of material. So we've done 5x efficiency or innovation when it comes to comfort conditions inside. And the impact of this whole building, एक 7,000 square feet का मकान में, we have reduced 102 tons of carbon dioxide. 102 tons. And I know it's a number which none of us can understand. The number which we can understand is that 102 tons of carbon dioxide is the equivalent of a 40-acre forest land. Can you imagine one building done rightly can save 40 acres of forest? And all of you who are sitting here with me today are going to be decision makers today, tomorrow, day after. You all are going to be the people who have the power of decision making. And just one decision to do it right. You all can save 40 acres of forest land just with one decision. That's the power of a decision. And this building has won several accolades from the government of India and internationally. It has been internationally awarded as India's first House of Tomorrow. And just last week, we won from New York the Luxury Lifestyle Awards. We won the award for the International Sustainable Building of the Year for this. Coming to my third story, which is our own Jagriti Enterprise Center, which you all are going to visit in Devariya very soon. So this is a beautiful project in which all of you all have seen a magician's show, right? A magician's hat in which he pours water and then he turns the hat around. What happens? He pours water in a magician pours water in a hat and he turns it around. What happens? There is no water coming out, right? This building is a magician's hat. There is not a single drop of water that is allowed to leave the campus. So this is a zero water discharge building. Every drop of water that falls on the land or on the roof is harvested, recycled and upcycled, which greatly reduces our dependence on groundwater. So the entire building is designed around India's national tree. This is also a great exercise in understanding, those of you who are designers, and all of you are designers in my understanding, that how design can be a tool for building your own brand and building your own enterprise. So over here, we've taken the simple slogan of Jagriti, which is building India through enterprise, and we have tried to embody building India through enterprise in the building. How did we do that? We took 4 symbols of India and designed the entire campus around those 4 symbols. The first symbol is the national tree of India, the banyan. The entire building is designed around the banyan tree. The second is the national flower of India, the lotus. And the banyan tree is surrounded by a lotus pond. The third is also a place which you all are going to visit, Varanasi. And this is a very quintessential Indian response to water, steps going down to water, gradual steps. So this idea of gradual steps going down to water in the form of an amphitheater is the third aspect of India. And fourthly, I lost the slides. Somebody's there. And fourthly, the national flag of India. So these are the 4 symbols that we have integrated in the design of the campus, which you all are partly going to see. The south block is already constructed. So I want to leave you all with a question, which I started in the beginning. You all are going to invest 90% of your time inside a building. And your biggest investment in life is also going to be a building. You all as decision makers have the power of decision to make a difference. Thank you.